and this is
LaQuisha. I go by Q.
Alright, so we're here because we're going to talk about faults and how easy it is for people to find fault in you, but not so easy for them to find faults within themselves. Well, there was a situation with me. This is something personal. I didn't even think I was going to go there, but I just in a little I will. I went to Africa last year, and I did not attend for my stay to be as long as it was, but there were some things that happened to me health-wise that kept me grounded. And my ex was supposed to keep my children, and he did not. He started a relationship, and he basically walked out on my children. A lot of things conspired within this situation where even the legal secular people were involved on the situation, but anyway, I was to blame. And to this day, I have an estranged relationship with some of my family members. I have an estranged relationship with him, and there's just a lot of things that need to be meted out and made right. And so why do you think, Q, that people want to shift blame or not take responsibility for some of the things that they do?
To admit that you're wrong means that you have to take responsibility for how you're making somebody feel or your behavior and actions, and you must make a conscious decision to change the behavior. But if you're able to shift the blame and deflect, then all of a sudden, hey, I don't have to change. It's not something wrong with me. It's something wrong with you. So, and then after that, they try to pull a snowball effect where they start just rapid firing, telling you, oh, and I seen you do this, and yeah, and you do this all the time. You chew funny, you smack when you eat, and then when you smack, you have a little spit, and the food hits the table, and it's just nasty. Where's your manners? And all of a sudden, you forgot the real reason y'all were arguing.
So that was a distraction from the real situation.
You straight deflected, and now all of a sudden, you done focused everything on me. You took the spotlight off of you.
Yourself. Yeah. You know, that's pretty common in a lot of relationships.
Yeah, friendships, family. I mean, even with people you work with. I mean, in the workplace, I mean, it's disgusting, especially when it comes to managers. I mean, Indiana's an at-will state.
Yes.
I mean, even though they say that what is it, will to work?
It's equal opportunity employment, but it's really not.
No, it's not. I mean, we have something that we sign here, and it's an at-will clause, and they can fire you for any and no reason. Yeah. They do not have to explain why they fire you. They just fired you.
At their will.
I mean, it could be they didn't like what you had on today, and they don't have to, hey, can you just go home and not come back? We're terminating your employment. Right. So, I mean, with that going on, I mean, how do you dispute with your job, especially when you have 4 or 5 children? I mean, you pretty much have to eat it.
That's true.
And soon as you let that one thing slide, especially if you don't have any type of proof on paperwork or anything on film or anything, you're going to always be the fall guy, the scapegoat. You will always be that person.
That's
and
true.
That would be hell for me.
Right. And the thing that makes it pretty bad is that you often have to leave a paper trail. You often have to record your phone calls. You have, keep an email if someone emails you. You have to keep records of every situation, every circumstance, because you never know when someone's going to use it as a pull out, a free get out of jail card for you.
Yeah.
You don't know if they're going to blackmail you in the situation. You don't know what people are going to do. And my take on it is, I think that people that have a problem with accepting responsibility, also along the lines of you, is because they don't want to change. And if they feel that you're coming to them with something that they've not thought about changing, then it's easy for them to kind of like retreat. It's easy for them to kind of like fire arms back at you. Because if I do this, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to distract the real situation. Okay, send her or him on the whirlwind chase, where like the dog chasing his tail, and then she's gonna even forget, or he's gonna even forget why he even came to me in the first place. And that's what I want to do, because I don't want the responsibility.
what's even more messed up is now it's really sad, but there are so many people undiagnosed with sociopathic disorders.
Oh, yeah.
As well as narcissistic disorder.
Right.
So with narcissists and people that are sociopaths, it's easier for them to deflect and shift blame, and they can do it without showing any type of emotion because all they care about is self.
Yeah.
What they can gain out of the situation, how they can utilize you and get you to do whatever they want you to do. They want a marionette.
Right.
They want a puppet.
Right.
And as soon as they're finished using you for whatever purpose that may be, whether it be for 1 week, 2 months, 4 years, a lifetime, as soon as they're done, they will discard you like you never even mattered because it's all about them. And if you're not feeding into whatever story that they're giving, they will try to make you feel bad with the blame game, deflecting. If not that, they lash out in anger, or they focus on your weaknesses. That's why they always sit and just watch like some vipers.
Oh, yeah, like they're waiting for that shoe to drop. They're waiting for that perfect moment so they can just go in.
But the beauty of it is, if you know yourself, how can it really hurt you? And when you know yourself, okay, yeah, I smacked. Well, not you. Yeah, maybe some food flew out, but you were talking to me and it was funny and I laughed.
Right.
Now what? And you still have this problem. And if you're not easy to distract and deflect off the situation, if they can't get you distracted, if they can't
throw you off course,
yeah, it's they will they won't stick around very long.
No.
They'll find somebody else. They'll be looking for somebody else because they already know that they can't
push you over. You're not a pushover.
even beyond they can't push you over. They can't be around you. Like, as far as cohabitating,
Right.
what is that word when you
coexist?
yeah, they can't coexist with you because your personality is too strong. They feed on the weak.
Right. And there, the sad thing about it, there are so many people that are like that though, and it's kind of hard though because at the beginning sometimes they don't come across like that.
No, they don't. They're very charming and helpful. They're doing everything they know to do. I mean, I'm sure they've seen every meme that anybody's ever posted on Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr. They've probably read every little dating site thing, what to do in a relationship. They've seen everything. And not to be funny, we keep giving them
Yes.
information to use against us to further enhance
The situation.
their whole evil personal agenda against
propaganda.
us.
I call it a propaganda.
It's disgusting.
It is disgusting.
But the thing is, maybe there are people that are really out there that really don't know, that need some good advice as far as relationships, as far as dating, as far as what to and not to do, what kind of gifts to buy, different avenues in approaching things. But now you have these sociopaths that watch and observe.
Yeah, you do.
And attack like lions, like just wow. It's
pretty scary. And how could we actually today with the show raise consciousness with people? Maybe they are in a situation, and maybe it might be with their mother. Maybe they're in a situation like that, and maybe with their child, or vice versa. Or
maybe it's them.
Yeah. And they want to help. They know they see themselves doing this, and maybe they don't even like it. But they just don't know how to, uncheck that situation. They don't know how to keep it in check.
It's probably, some people, I think when it's been impressed upon you, it's a defense mechanism you've probably acquired since you were young.
I agree.
And it's hard to stop, especially when you've been blamed for everything. It's easy to find different ways to make it somebody else's fault, for it to never be your fault ever again. But you run people away when you're constantly pointing the finger, and you have so many things going on with you that you don't feel like you need to change yourself.
Yeah, and in that case, that's pretty sad. But I really feel like there is a remedy for people that are like that, especially people with psychosomatic disorders. There's a nutrition. There's a lot of doctors that are ortho doctors, with orthomolecular medicine that actually helps with some of these disorders. And it's so awkward that we're talking about this. This is one of the things that I studied in school.
Orthomolecular?
Yeah, yes. And it's orthomolecular medicine. That's the technical form of it, but that's what it is.
So
and what they use is nutrition.
I think
They
that's
use
awesome.
nutrition to help, because some of these people are being misdiagnosed for having a or a psychological problem or an emotional problem, when it's not even that. It's a physical problem because they have deficiencies in the body.
Yeah, not only that, parasitic things. You know, those people that were having issues as far as the mind was concerned, they
Right.
had worms eating.
Especially, did you see the news report about the lady who ate pork? She was barbecuing one day, and her husband had ended up barbecuing the rest of the food, but she wasn't feeling good. She went to go lay down, and they said that they ended up having to take her to the hospital because she wasn't responsive. And she was like, it's kind of like she wasn't cognizant of what was going on around her. So it was like she was conscious, but she was in and out of consciousness. And they ended up doing an x-ray and found that she had some worms that came from pork. And that was the culprit and what was causing it. So I do believe that.
You know, they say that arthritis, especially in the joints, is usually parasitic.
It is. It's fungus. It's fungi. All arthritis, I would definitely
Even
say,
around
is fungus.
They said it was worms that wrap around your
Your
muscles,
joints.
and then when you get cold, when it's cold outside, they tighten.
Because they can't stand the cold.
No, they can't.
So that is the Doppler effect, is arthritis. Wow, I'm learning from
Rheumatoid.
you.
That's why a lot of times
People cringe and their hands and
But
joints
if you think
dry.
about it, it's not too many people. If we go back to the 19 and 1800s, we only had hands that looked like that if we were maimed.
Right.
Like if you hurt yourself
injured.
or something physical, like a
Like a
beating
physical
or
trauma.
something like that
Or an
happened.
accident.
But now, no.
Yeah, and it's becoming common. That's the sad thing about it.
But it's also, I mean, this is something we can't help because it's something that they're doing to our food that once upon a time they were not doing.
Yes, it's a whole nother discussion and a whole nother segment, but we can talk about that for hours. The genetically modified foods and the plastics that they're putting into the food to bind the food and to make it
We're
spread.
talking about that polymer,
all of
the pink. The pink glue or the meat glue stuff.
Right. They're using that. And I think that one begins with a D. I cannot, for the life of me, recall what it's called, but it begins with a D. And all of that, it's just, to me, it's where we are in the grand scheme of things, because we are dependent for people. We're actually paying people to be responsible for us. If you pay someone to prepare your food so you don't have to prepare your food, don't complain how you get it even though you already paid for it, because see, you didn't put that in the contract. All you said is that you wanted oranges. Well, if I want to give you oranges and I want to give it to you on a grand scale and give everyone else oranges, I'm going to make sure that I have a yield too. And I'm not agreeing with what they do, but I'm just saying that we need to grow our own food.
Well, that was the beauty of what they considered, and when I say beauty, this is complete and total sarcasm.
I
The
got
beauty
you.
of why slavery was so awesome to them,
Right.
because all they had to do was buy hired help.
Yeah, that's true.
They bought us. I mean, we didn't make a profit off of slaughtering animals and cutting them up and making quarters and all those different things. We didn't have to. You didn't have to pay them. Just give them a little scrap of meat. Y'all got cabins over there, gone over there, whatever it is. You had labor to go into the gardens, tend the gardens. I mean, and then you were free to do whatever it was you pleased.
Speaking of that, what do you think about people that kind of live in that slave mentality? Well, I was slave, so I'm going to take what I need to take. Do you think it's right or wrong?
You mean as far as them feeling like they deserve reparations?
Yes.
I do believe we do.
Okay.
We built this country.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
But do you think
Now
that they
they-
should do that in a legal setting
I feel like they believe
within the
it.
law, right?
I believe they feel like they're doing it already with the Medicare and the Medicaid and the food stamps and the TANF. I feel like they feel like I'm taking care of you and your children. I don't owe you anything.
But are they really the ones that are taken care of? Because if it's to my understanding that taxpayers, which are also minorities, pay into that as well.
Which is true, but I mean, how many of them are unemployed? Especially if they have 4 or 5 children, if they're underage and young. I mean, you have a lot of people that live.
Did you hear about the census on that? It was a census that was taken about people that are on welfare, and there's actually more Caucasian and Latin people than it is the Black Americans.
I do believe that because I mean, opportunity is becoming more prevalent for the Latino and Hispanic community. I think that's beautiful. I'm glad that they're coming here. However, I mean, as soon as you come here, you're already tax free for 7 years, and then you get food stamps and Medicare. I mean, I don't know how fair. I'm sorry, I don't.
Right.
I do not think that's fair. Mm-hmm. I'm not trying to be mean or controversial, but I mean, we were born here to a point where I mean, we have to beg.
Pretty much.
To get into, we have to beg and show all kinds of proof of paperwork.
We do.
When
I mean,
you
basically have to
give
them everything, all the way down to almost your DNA and your blood type, in order to get on assistance. And so, anyway, I think that we as a culture, I'm not going to say as a people, because I don't like that word. I mean, even though we are people, I would say we as a culture.
We don't have to. There's too many of us. We're a melting pot.
We are. And then, you know, that's the beauty of it all, is because we as a culture, to me, I'm saying the American culture, which is, you know, Caucasian, Latin, you know, Black, African American, I believe that we are a culture. Because if I say people, then I would start to identify myself with this type. You would start to identify yourself with that type, and then that causes division. But I really think that it really has to be a consciousness that needs to be raised for a lot of people. And I'm trying my very best to do this one show at a time. Mm-hmm. And I can only get so much in a segment, and as much as I would like to go on, I'm going to go ahead and stop here. But I really enjoyed our conversation.
I did too.
Yes. Okay. All right. So if you have any questions, if you want to comment, like, and subscribe. Again, my name is Nikki. This is Q. And we'll be coming back with you with another segment. Hope you liked it. Bye. I know.